Heard of both of them, yeah. Wonder Bar this is where a difference I have to listen to your stories. I know Wonder Bar turned into like a nightclub.
Yeah.
From the time I know it, yeah.
It was like a really cool jazz bar. Like, we had Harold Lane, who used to play for Sammy Davis Jr. He was like our house drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Reverend Johnny Horner, who's also a cab driver. You guys have heard that episode.
Yeah.
But like, so you were at the steakhouse and you're at Faneuil Hall.
Yeah, so that's where I bounced around for a while. That's where, the steakhouse was my first job. I was there for 4 years, and then once I left, I bounced around a few different places trying to find the right money, of where I was going to be. And that's where I eventually found my next home, which was this neighborhood bar in Dorchester, the finest part of Boston, Dorchester. Yeah. It was neighborhood spot. I mean, that's like crazy times, being in there. I mean, I'll never forget. I mean, there was one time I actually took a gander at the people in the bar, and I was like, this is a true neighborhood pub. I looked down to the right, and there's a group of correctional officers and cops on one side, and then I looked down to the far left, and there's the neighborhood coke dealer.
Yeah, the people are going to arrest.
I was like, yeah, exactly. The people that they have arrested or they've seen in jail before, down the far end. And then right in between is your regular mix of the other neighborhood people. I mean, the couples and stuff, coming out on their first dates. And
what happened there?
Yeah, so there was... it was probably the first year and a half, I think. Might have been almost a 2-year mark of working there. I started to get a little comfortable, knowing a bunch of the regulars around and everything. And this is the time I probably should have been fired. Actually, definitely should have been fired.
I've had a lot of those moments.
Yeah. Also the point where I realize it's extremely hard to get fired from here. Because we knew, I mean, each night, you end the night, you have your couple of shift drinks, and so that's where normally the cleaning crew, when they came in around 3 or 4 a.m., that was your cue. All right, time for us to leave.
Yeah, we've been here too long.
Yeah, we've been here, like the bar closed at 1. So clearly, yeah, if it's 4 a.m. and the cleaning crew is coming in, yeah, all right, it's time for us to leave. So we also knew, because of neighborhood spot, smaller venue, Mondays and Wednesdays there were no cleaning crews. So we decided to have a bit of a lock-in one Monday night.
Oh boy.
Oh yes.
Lock the doors, keep the regulars inside.
Exactly.
Go for it.
Yep. Everybody left. We finished. We cleaned. We mopped everything around. And just decided we knew there was one section of the bar where this is where the owner sat that the cameras didn't see.
Okay, got the blind spot.
Yeah, so the one blind spot, yeah, exactly. So that's where we sat with our, neighborhood dealer of all the assortment of whatever you were looking for.
Right. Kicked out the cops first. And
yes.
Kept those guys.
Yeah,
nice.
Kept those guys. There was only a handful of us. So we're sitting there snorting lines all night long, and drinking away, smoking in the bar and everything, like old times. And we had this one kid that was with us, this kid Patrick, is typical Irish, Patrick, who was starting to nod off, like falling asleep sitting there. So I kept telling him, I was like, Patrick, just leave.
Patrick narcolepsy.
Yes, so I was like, just leave, man. Like, clearly you're not hanging with us anymore, just go. Well, he just slowly kept moving further and further down the bar, and so we figured at some point he had left. Fast forward, as the night continues on, all of a sudden I realize, I'm looking down, I'm like, fuck, dude, it's like 5:30 in the morning. The owner's going to be here in an hour.
Oh, my God.
We need to leave. As we've been smoking and everything in there, I was like, oh, the smoke's still clouding inside the bar. And so we leave. It's probably like 5:45 or something. The owner comes in around 6:30. So I go home, pass out, finally, wake up to probably, 20 missed calls from the owner of the bar.
Oh, no.
Yep. Multiple text messages, saying that from him, call me immediately. James, please call me immediately. And then even missed calls from the girl I was working with that night as well, being like text from her being like, hey, what happened? Like, did you leave the front door unlocked or something? I was like, no, I definitely remember locking the front door. So I was like, and she's like, oh, did we leave Patrick there? And I was like,
Oh, no.
Shit.
No.
That must have been it. I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah, we probably left Patrick there. I was like, all right. So I'm still in bed, naturally, and end up calling my boss to figure out, what's going on. And that's where he starts reaming me out. He's like, do you know what I walked into? I found Patrick asleep in one of the booths. You have any idea what he could have done? He could have hurt himself. He could have walked out the front door, could have let in all these homeless people who live around Dorchester, and they could have drank the bar dry. Yes.
Oh my God.
He could have woken up, calling all his friends, had them all come down, drink the bar dry. I'm like, Ray, you know who he is. That's not going to happen. And so I have this conversation. I'm like, I'm freaking out though. Like, as he's like, well, I'll talk to you later when you come in. I was like, oh fuck, like this is how it's going on. So I hang up the phone call. And then I hear from the other room next to me, my roommate, who's another bartender in Boston as well, chimes in real quick. He's like, hey, what was that all about? Did you get fired? I was like, I don't think so.
He's like, is there going to be a problem with the rent?
Yeah, that was his concern. Yeah,
thanks
like,
for caring.
Did you get fired? I was like, no. He's like, well, what happened? It's like, apparently I left somebody asleep in the bar last night. He's like, oh, that's all? Jamesy that I work with, he's done that twice.
Dude, that happened so when I worked at the karaoke bar, New Year's Eve. So we always have this writer. He was super eccentric, and he wrote for King of the Hill. He wrote for Mike Judge, and he was crazy. He always had like a 3-ring binder trapper keeper.
Yeah, and
he was just scribble down stuff like that all the time. And he was there on New Year's Eve, and just being weird and freaking people out. And we kicked him out, so we thought. And then New Year's Day, 5 p.m., I go to unlock the door, and this dude shoves the door wide open, blocks me in, and comes running out. He had been in there the whole time.
Oh shit.
Yeah, till 5 p.m. on New Year's Day. What a way to start it. But speaking of shitty roommates, I'm one. We had me and my former roommate. I live alone now, but when I had a roommate before he got wifed up with his boyfriend, we had this awesome pad, and there was this neighbor across the street who was cleaning his gun, and he didn't realize he had a bullet chambered.
Oh.
And it went off. And my roommate we're across the hall from this guy, was walking around the apartment talking to his mom. This bullet travels through his wall, through the hallway, through our wall, through our utensil drawer, blowing out a giant hole, going up above the kitchen island where my roommate was in the path of 30 seconds earlier.
Yeah.
And then hit a mirror on our back wall, shattered the mirror and fell to the floor.
Was it a 357 mag?
It was a Glock. It was a 9mm, and it went through everything. And it's just thin walls. Yeah. And because I heard a lot of stuff from my neighbor. Yeah, I think my neighbors thought I was a maniac. They must have heard some stuff. Oh my God. Anyway, and so he called me to tell me, and as a shitty roommate I am, I'm like, he's like, yeah, the cops are here. They're going. I'm like, did they find our shit? He's like, no. I'm like, are you all right?
That was my second question. That was my only concerns, yes.
That was my second question.
Did they find our shit? No.
Yeah, are you doing all right? Awesome, man. And now you're in Colorado. We're working together. You're a fucking assassin, dude. I love working with you. You crush it.
There was, for, like I said, bounce around, different areas of Boston. So that's where initially getting that start right outside Fenway. I was so used to that, initial rush of people coming in, a few hours beforehand. So that's where I got my, stature from, or stamina.
You get your speed too. Yeah, speed, you just hit everybody at once and then just wait for them to hit their paces. But anytime there's an event, that's what it is.
Yeah,
it's hurry up and wait. Then oh shit, and then it's all right, cool. Those are the alcoholics. Those are the newbies.
Yeah,
I can start judging my speed for that.
Yeah, that's where I also catch myself occasionally here. That's where people have noticed, a little bit in the Denver scene of, I'm coming from Boston, we're pretty quick moving. So, if you don't know exactly what you want when I ask you, I'm moving on to the next person.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you guys having?
Yeah.
And then they look and go, I'm like, you waited here 5 minutes. You push your way to the front of the bar and you don't know what you want.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.
Yeah,
because and it seems like I'm being rude, but you're being rude.
You're being exactly
to everybody in this bar that knows what they want.
Yeah. Or even worse, when they're standing over the menu and they're like, "Oh, what beers do you have on draft?" As I walk over there, I was like, "Well, that's a stupid question because the menu's right here in front of you."
Yeah.
And then I move on to the next person.
Yep. Bye.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, so you started off in Boston. Are you from Boston, or where are you from?
No, so I'm originally from New Hampshire.
Okay, Adam Sandler country.
Exactly, yeah. I grew up in a real small town, about a half hour from Adam Sandler in Manchester.
All right, Manchester. I end up in Manchester in a cellar ripping rails with some stranger. It's wicked weird kid.
They call it Manch Vegas up there, actually. But yeah, so I grew up real small town. I mean, we didn't even have a stoplight. We had a flashing yellow. That was it.
Wow.
One gas station, that's where I grew up. But no, I mean, one one crazy story. I mean, obviously it's a small town, so people know about a lot of things that happen out there. I had heard through one of my best friends I grew up with about this story, about this thing happening. And I was like, holy fuck, like, is this for real? And he tells me, he's like, yeah, so, you know, when it comes to revenge things, you know, people, like, you gotta plan it out, or, like, I mean, this guy really planned out this revenge.
It's a dish best served cold.
Yes. So it first started with, it was my buddy's older brother. I was out at a party one night and had beef with this guy or some small town New Hampshire. Who knows what it could have been? You know, he probably kissed some girl.
It's a girl or it's money.
Exactly, yeah. Something stupid. And so he all of a sudden finds out. I don't know if he found out that night when it happens or a little bit after, but apparently this kid, so my buddy's older brother, had his car at this party and his windows rolled down. And this other kid that he was beefing with apparently pissed all over the driver's side door and inside the car. Horrible thing. Like, this dude's all pissed off, finds out about this. So finds out about this guy that pissed all over the inside of his car, super pissed about it. No pun intended.
That's what you did there.
Yeah. And so, as I was saying about revenge,
I'd be like, you're in trouble. Sorry,
yeah.
That's all I got. It's terrible.
Planned out this whole scheme. All right. Couldn't believe, like, he waited 6 months. Long time after this kid pissed in his car.
It's Count of Monte Cristo shit.
Yeah. Waited 6 months, roughly. And apparently showed up to the guy's house around 2, 3 in the morning with a 5-gallon container of gasoline and dumped it all inside the car and lit a book of matches and set the car on fire.
Holy shit. I feel like that's like revenge math is like way off.
It's
like somebody like spit in your eye and you shot him with a bazooka. It's like, okay, that's a little extreme.
Yeah,
right,
literally extreme.
The escalation has happened.
So apparently this had all happened. I wasn't there for any of this, had heard this, you know, from my best friend I grew up with, whatever, and all this stuff had happened. And so fast forward, this is years later. Apparently, the kid never knew who did it. Like, still to this time, had no idea who had set his car on fire because, you know, he waited this long time. And so I'm out drinking. Out drinking. It's New Hampshire in a small town, so I'm at this guy's house. Like, this other person's
I'm in the woods drinking behind somebody's house.
No, drinking at these guys' house, and happened to mention about how I had heard about this story.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh no.
That's all I mentioned. I was like, and like the guy whose car that got set on fire was there, and so he had talked to these other guys. As I'm standing there, I'm having a great time. You know, I was probably like 19, I think, at the time, and shooting the shit, standing around. Also, I'm standing in the kitchen. Actually, I'll never forget this. What they had to drink there, Zima.
Oh my God! Yeah, it's the 90s.
Zima.
Oh, yes. Delicious.
Yes, there was cases and cases of Zima there,
and I bet there still are cases and cases of Zima there.
Yeah, and so I'm like standing in the kitchen, you know, shooting the shit with these people, and all of a sudden this guy comes up and pulls some sort of handgun out on me.
What the fuck?
Yep, and literally stands there and stares me down and goes, "Oh, do you have something to tell us? Like, we heard you know about like this car getting set on fire." And I looked at him and was like, yeah, I heard about it. I don't know who the fuck did it, though.
You were just like, yeah, I heard about it with a gun pulled on
you?
Like,
no
problem.
Oh, yeah.
You
no,
like you didn't fart uncontrollably or shit your pants?
No, I didn't. I remember this very specifically. Standing there as the guy has got the gun, like, just holding it out. Like, not even, like, pointing or, like, anything like that. Just had it out, showed that he had it. And I stared at him, and I looked at him. I was like, listen, man, there's about 15 people in this kitchen here right now. So if you're really going to shoot me in the middle of your kitchen, there's a lot of witnesses, so you're probably not going to do that. All right. And I don't have anything else to tell you. And as I finished saying this, all of a sudden, like, the guy had put his hands behind him, and he pulls them out, and now he doesn't have it because apparently somebody walked behind him knowing this is all going on and took the gun away from him.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. I can't believe you brought reason into it in that like that moment.
It was like at that moment. I mean, like seeing that, I thought of it and I was like, "There's no way this guy's actually going to shoot me."
Jesus, man, that's
around
crazy.
all these people. Yeah, I was like, "This is small town New Hampshire." He's trying to be tough, showing that he had a gun. Stupid kid stuff.
I just I use reason in those situations where I've had like the angry boyfriend because I like accidentally slept with his girlfriend or whatever, and like he wants to like kill me, and he totally could kill me, and I'm like, listen, man, if it wasn't me, it'd be somebody else. So you can't really be mad at me. You gotta be mad at her.
Yeah,
I didn't know you guys were together.
Yeah,
please don't hurt me, sir.
Oh, that's right. That was the other story.
Oh, what do you got?
Yes, one motto I grew up on. Well, I wouldn't say grew up on, but eventually was taught was,